Good afternoon, everybody. Good afternoon. Hopefully, you guys are having a great Wednesday. Is it Wednesday? It's Wednesday. Oh my lord! I knew it was Wednesday. I always second guess myself once I get on the live. So lots going on in true crime. I feel like today. So I wanted to hop on and do an afternoon live, and then I'll probably come back and do our regular stream at 8:15 as well. But we've got a lot of stuff going on. So I wanted to get through the documents for Delphi so that way we're not behind and, something doesn't overtake me, off into oblivion because I wanted to get through this document. I want to read all of it, make sure we're up to date. Also, we're going to do a live over Crystal Rogers again. They arrested Brooks. Finally, I cannot believe that they arrested him. I really can't. I still can't believe it. And so I do have a video of him like being escorted into the jail. He was definitely arrested today, or yesterday. So I was going to show you guys before we start with I think it's part 3 of, this is actually part 5 for us, but it's part 3 of the actual document. So we'll go through part 3 and then we'll do part 4. And then I have a video for next live. So we'll do this live today on part 3 and the next live will be over part 4. But I do have some pictures that I saved just like of our trip there, like on the way there. I just snapped some pictures as we kind of went. And I was just going to show you guys those. I didn't realize that we were going to go through Indianapolis to get to Delphi. I didn't know that. This was when I woke up from my nap. I was so tired. We went, I think we left the house at like 7:00 in the morning, which we're not used to leaving the house that early. I'm used to being here like all through the morning with the dogs and stuff, but we had to leave because of the renovation. So that's why we had the dogs with us too. So we couldn't do as much as we wanted to because we had, our puppies with us, Mia and Araya. So, and welcome on in. I didn't know if you'd be in here today, Jan, because I knew you worked. So I was just wondering. I was like, well, there she is. And hey, Deb. I need to say hi to anybody. Hey, Alicia. Welcome in, everybody. Hey, Yankee Kyle. Welcome in, guys. And if you guys wouldn't mind just taking a second to hit the like button, it does help the channel. So I'll just kind of go through the pictures. This is when we were going into Delphi. And then I want to go back because there were some places that I wanted to really look at. And I was so out of it from like vacation, renovation mode, not getting sleep and stuff with the time change that I was just trying to get as many pictures as I kind of could for us in between my nap, time. I was trying to find, and I should have looked it up, the Hoosier hardware store or Hoosier now I can't remember the name of it. It's the store that's across from the Monon High Bridge. They have, and that's where all the videos been collected from. So I was wondering where that place was when we were there, but I didn't think about it until we were leaving, and I was like, I should have looked that up. So I got a picture of the school too, but I wasn't sure if it was their school or not. And they do have a really pretty like downtown area. It's very similar to the area that I grew up in. That's what it kind of reminded me of, like their downtown and stuff. And then I do have some, like this is a picture of the Monon High Trail. It just says that on the bridge there. We were going this way. This is when we were going incorrectly. We didn't know where we were going, and we thought this was the way to the bridge because that's what it said, but it wasn't. We had to go a different way. Hoosier Harvest. Thank you, Jan. That's what it is. I knew someone would know it in the chat. And then also when we were there, so you know that they used to have that sign. It said Monon High Bridge, and it had all the teddy bears and the flowers and stuff for the girls. I don't know if that's on the other side of the bridge where you can't walk to anymore, but we didn't find anything like that. I couldn't find any sign that said Monon High Bridge except for like this one and then like a updated version. So if you guys know where that sign is, let me know because I don't know where the sign is located. We wanted to take stuff there, like a teddy bear, maybe some flowers or something, but we weren't sure where we would sit it. We didn't want to just like sit it somewhere, like random. And then this is what their boards look like now. So they're all like updated and they have cameras everywhere on the trails, which It sucks that they have to do this. They do this after something tragic happens, just like in the Rachel Morin case, out of Bel Air, Maryland. They're now putting at the Ma and Pa Trail, they're going to install, all these high-tech cameras. And it's like, but it took one person dying for this to happen. And I think we're going to cover Rachel Morin tonight because there's some updates in that case. So this next picture here is going to be, this is just of the bridge. And those are the berries that I was telling you guys about. I don't know what kind of berries they are, but they're beautiful. Like they were just like coming up through the wood. Yeah, there should be cameras on all trails. Yep. That must have been what it was, Jan, when they redid that part of the bridge. Because you would think it would be on that side of the bridge. That's so sad, though. Can you imagine having to be the person to like throw those things away? Or I guess you could give it to the families. I hope they'd ask the families if they wanted it. But I wouldn't be able to do that. But I'm one of those people, man, that I'm one of those people. I get sentimental when it comes to stuff. Like, well, I used to, but I'm getting better about throwing stuff away. Oops, sorry guys. I thought my volume wasn't down on my phone. Stop calling me. I don't know who it is. It says potential spam. At least it tells me. But yeah, if you guys know what those berries are, let me know. Hey, I'm Faithful. Oh, thank you. Hey, Phil. Oh, they took all the stuff away. It was at the parking lot. Oh, just after your drive under the red bridge. Oh, okay. So that was the right way to the Mona High Trail. Okay. Because I know that one point we had to turn around. We had to turn around at the Delphi Cemetery, actually. And when we were reading the documents, they mentioned the Delphi Cemetery in the documents. And for the life of me, I cannot remember. And I went through all the pages that we've read, all 101. And I must have skimmed over it and I can't find it. But I swear that they were saying something about the cemetery. So I'm wondering what it was because I have video of the whole cemetery. And then this is up from like if you're on the bridge looking down. It's so pretty. Like I said last night when we watched the video of me there was like little beavers building a dam like down below. Vincent thought that was the coolest thing because he's never seen beavers before. And then this is like where the bridge, ends. The new bridge goes to the old bridge, which I'm wondering how much further that extends. If it's a quarter mile, this was probably a quarter of it. So it's probably a good ways down still that you could travel. Now, if I was, and then there's me this is me with a pen in my hair after I was sweating for God knows how long. I was like, are we there yet? And no, I'm just kidding. I wasn't like that, but I was sweating really bad. So I took a picture so you could see the bridge behind me. I had to tie my shirt up. At one point I had my pants rolled up. We didn't know that it was going to be so humid that day. And then there's the girls, which one of them is behind me sleeping right now. And then this is, the girls are buried at different cemeteries, neither at Delphi. I didn't think they were there. I didn't look for them, actually. I didn't even look. Like, I don't know why I didn't. You know what I mean? But I did it. I just assumed that they weren't there. I know, an afternoon live, huh, Aries? We haven't done an afternoon live in a while. And I wanted to get caught up because we have so many things that are going on, I feel like, in true crime. I'm like, whoa, guys. And then I think I have just one more picture of the bridge. Yeah. And so let me exit out of some of these. I've got so many tabs open. So I can show you those pictures. And then we'll get over to reading. But yeah, it was pretty out there. I could understand. I could definitely see why they would go out there and hang out, especially because there's nothing to do in that town. Did you guys grow up in small towns? And if you did, what'd you guys do? Let me know. So yeah, they were pretty much across the bridge, I believe, when the picture was taken. So that's just, man. And for them girls to be on that bridge, whoa, I don't know. I couldn't do it. I couldn't personally do it because, I mean, even with two eyes, definitely not with one because my balance is off. But even with two, it's up so high. It's so scary. But for them to be like, okay, I need to turn around and take a video of this person walking towards me. Like, that's brave. Like, I would have probably been so scared I would have dropped my phone and ran, you know. I don't, because like I'm a big crazy person, you know. I probably would have jumped off the bridge like a dummy. But she had the, you know, the mindset of, and I know what happened after the fact, and that's not good at all. But, you know, she did have the mindset to take a video and get that video. And I cannot wait until all 43 seconds are released. I hope that it's everything that I want it to be. So I really do. Hey, Candy, welcome in. Happy fall. I have a two-piece set on. I feel like it is fall now, officially fall. This is actually what I wore on the to the airport. And it was funny because I spilled something all the way down me, and we still to this day don't know what I had all over me. But we had fun. Okay. So I do plan on going back to Delphi and in the future. Definitely, if they don't have cameras inside the courtroom, I'm going to try my damnedest to be there. You know, at least one day. Maybe in the beginning, it won't be as busy, kind of like with Murdaugh. I don't know if you guys watch Alec Murdaugh's trial, but in the beginning of the trial, there wasn't a whole lot of people in the gallery. Like you could go in there and sit down. Towards the end, when Nancy Grace showed up about the third day, that's when everybody, I feel like, started kind of coming in. But Bernadette, yeah, you would have called someone. No way you could have crossed that. Me either. Little town in English countryside. Oh, you guys walked in the woods. I walked in the woods. Me and my cousin used to like pack a lunch and stuff and go in the woods. And there was a bridge, ironically, that we would go, and it was wooden, ironically, and we would go and sit on it. And I thought it was the coolest little thing. We probably walked, I don't really know how long to get there, maybe a mile, but it seemed like forever. It could have been less than that. But it was, I'll always remember that. Me and my cousin, we used to go take walks together. And what else do we do? We had skating rink. So that was a blessing for us. We did have a skating rink. But other than that, we had nothing. There was just nothing to do except for, you know, be bad, kind of. Not too bad, but you know what I mean. We were kids. So let me go ahead and start reading this here. Really? 7 wooden bridges that cars traveled over to get to the creek to go swimming. Oh, you're still scared of bridges, Harley Ryder? I don't like them either. I'm not a big fan of bridges either. They actually scare me. Like when I'm stuck on a bridge in a car, I could feel it swaying, and I'm like, I get really nervous. If it's a bridge over water, count me out. Count me out. I don't like I like Florida, all of those beautiful coastal highways, like that are like, you know, off of they have like water running through them. No, I get so nervous. So we're on part 3 now, and this is going to be Liggett concealed and falsified evidence in his affidavit for search warrant. And then after this, we only have one more, like I said, one more section. So we'll read this section, and then we'll do our regular live tonight. We'll do it over something different. That way we get a break in between. And then tomorrow we'll come back and we'll do the part 4. And then Court TV came out with a new video about the prosecution and what they're saying about everything. So we'll watch that as well. So this says Liggett concealed and falsified evidence in his affidavit for search warrant. The concealed and falsified evidence blows Liggett's timeline apart, which explains why he concealed and falsified information. For Liggett's timeline to work and to place Richard Allen on the Monon High Bridge at 2:13, the time of the famous Down the Hill video, Liggett desperately needed Betsy Blair to describe a man on the Monon High Bridge that looked like Richard Allen, and perhaps more importantly, needed Betsy Blair to describe a car she observed parked at the CPS parking lot at approximately 2:15 p.m. as looking like Richard Allen's black Ford Focus. Betsy Blair's description of the man she observed on the Monon High Bridge around 2 p.m. looked nothing like Richard Allen. Liggett concealed this information from Judge Denier. Betsy Blair's description of the vehicle she observed at the CPS parking lot looked nothing like a black Ford Focus. Liggett also concealed this information from Judge Denier. For good measure, Liggett also lied about what Sarah Carball observed at 3:57 p.m. that also blew up his timeline. Now, I will say a Ford Focus, to me, doesn't look nothing like a PT Cruiser or a smart car. That's just me. Like, I think of a smart car like a Tesla, or if you're gonna ask me like what a smart car is, I'm gonna say a Tesla. And if they're say name another, I'm gonna say I don't know another because I really don't know anymore. Like, like there's electric cars, but that's the only one that I know that's like supposed to be like smart. So I don't, yeah, the description of the car, it does, that threw me off because that PT Cruiser doesn't look like that. Actually, wasn't it a 2015 Ford Focus? Let's see if we can, yeah, I don't see it. Let's see. They all kind of look different. They have a hatchback and then a non-hatchback. So I don't know which one his was. Do you guys know? I don't know. Oh, like the smart cars, like the little tiny cars? Oh, that wouldn't even match though, because those cars are bigger. Oh, like the little titanium cars. I think they're made of titanium. I think that's what they're made of. Like those real small ones that look like a little boot. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Catherine. Back they may have similar shapes. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it does vary, but that's just kind of, it just threw me off, whenever they said that. But they are living in a smaller town also. So they, that could count for things. Because when you live in a small town, I mean, I grew up in a small town. There was a lot of things I feel like I didn't know that were out there. And welcome on in, everybody. Hey, Wounded Healer. Welcome in, CJK. Oh, my nails mess up. So Betsy Blair's first description of the man she saw on the bridge was memorialized in Sketch 2, illustrated on February 17th, 2017, 3 days after the girls were found, but not released to the public until April 22nd, 2019, following Superintendent Doug Carter's press conference. And I was right. It was 2019 when they released that. On February 17th, 2017, Betsy Blair met with the state police sketch artist Taylor D. Bryant and provided a description of the man she observed from 50 feet away on the Monon High Bridge, the same man that Liggett claimed in his affidavit was the killer. Betsy told the sketch artist that the man she observed was a white male, age 20, had brown curly hair, medium build, find attached and marked as Exhibit 103, an unredacted facial identification reference sheet that contains the description that Betsy Blair provided to the sketch artist. Also find attached a copy of the sketch that Taylor D. Bryant produced from Betsy Blair's description of the man she observed on the bridge, marked as Exhibit 104. This illustration is also called Sketch Number 2 because it was released to the public second. So you guys know which one I'm talking about, right? I wish I had my bookmarks up. Let me see. Okay. I'm going to show this one. So it's going to be the one on, the sketch, obviously. This is the sketch number 2 that came out. And I don't have sketch number 1 handy, but that's sketch number 2. And I just share the screen. Let me see. Okay. Welcome in, Melinda. Welcome in, everybody. Hey, Selena. I should move the chat over here so I can see it better. Because I forgot to pull it up on my computer. Okay. So it says, had brown curly hair, medium build. So I forgot. I don't think I said medium build. Okay. This illustration is also called Sketch Number 2 because it was released second to the public. Upon looking at the sketch, Betsy Blair told the sketch artist that the illustration was a 10 out of 10 for accuracy. The Unified Command did not release the Betsy Blair sketch to the public for over 2 years. Instead, they released the Sarah Carball sketch, also called Sketch Number 1, because it was released to the public first. The Sarah Carball sketch was illustrated by FBI sketch artist Plants from Detroit on June 19th, 2017, and released to the public on July 17th, 2017. Who was the person that Sarah Carball was describing in her sketch? According to Liggett's affidavit, at approximately 3:57 p.m., Sarah Carball observed a man walking westbound on County Road 300 North. Sarah Carball was headed eastbound on County Road 300 North, operating her motor vehicle while simultaneously observing this man walking on the road towards her on the opposite side of the road. This is the same man that Sarah Carball described for the sketch artist on June 19th, 2017. We will be discussing Sarah Carball's description of that man later. Roughly 2 years later, in March 2019, Betsy Blair met with Tony Liggett, frustrated that her sketch number 2, had not been released to the public. Betsy was frustrated because sketch number 1, which had been released to the public almost 2 years before, did not match the man that she observed on the high bridge. Betsy even commented that sketch number 1 was wrong. Certainly, it was odd that Sarah Carball's sketch was chosen to be released over the Betsy Blair sketch for the following reasons. 2 different pictures, I feel like. Those were just 2 different people. Couldn't they have seen 2 different people on the bridge that day and one be the person that did this and the other one not? I don't know. We saw a couple of guys by themselves walking. We saw 2 guys. They were not with each other. They were just by themselves. And Vincent was like, that's a little weird. I was like, man, I didn't even say anything. He did. It was funny. He just said, why is there guys walking on this trail? Like, no one's here, this time in the afternoon, because they weren't wearing like leisure wear or anything. They're just kind of dressed in their regular clothes. So he was side-eyeing people. It says, certainly it was odd that Sarah Carball's sketch was chosen to be released over the Betsy Blair sketch for the following reasons. Betsy Blair provided her description of the sketch artist only 4 days after seeing the man on the bridge, while it was fresh on her mind, compared with Sarah Carball, who provided her description of the sketch artist 126 days after she observed the man on the road. Betsy Blair had a good look at the man's face while stationary from only 50 feet away. Sarah Carball was not stationary, but rather traveling down the road, operating her vehicle while simultaneously trying to observe the man on the road. During her March 7, 2017 interview, Betsy Blair was talking with 2 members of Unified Command, Kevin Hammond and Tony Liggett. At this interview, Betsy Blair told Liggett face-to-face that the man she observed on the high bridge fit the following description. She says the man was slender and youthful looking. He was more boyish looking. The man was in his 20s to early 30s. His hair seemed poofy, just as the sketch portrayed. He had no facial hair that she can remember. Finally, on April 22nd, 2019, Unified Command released Betsy Blair's sketch number 2 to the general public. In fact, upon its release, Superintendent Doug Carter commented that the man in Blair's sketch number 2 was responsible for the murders. Also, at that time of the release of sketch number 2, Doug Carter also stated that sketch number 1 had now become secondary to the investigation. I was wondering when they're going to send and bring in Doug Carter and throw his name under the bus. Don't you talk about him. I like Doug. I like Doug Carter. I think he's a good guy. On March 7th, 2019, and welcome in Donna and Melissa. And if I missed you, I'm sorry. Welcome in, everybody. If you guys don't mind just taking a second to hit the like button, it really does help. And if you're just joining us, we are reading over, was it section 3? Section 3. We've been reading over the 136-page document that came out for the defense over Richard Allen. And this is what the defense is saying is going on. And if all of this is true, then my head's going to spin off my damn shoulders because it's just too much. It's too much. But the first live that we did over it was over the crime scene. And now the last few lives have been over the suspects that the defense is saying did wrong. The police, and who they believe, in fact, committed the crime. And they're throwing names out. I've never seen a document like this in my life. So where were we at? Okay. On March 7th, 2019, Liggett was present when Betsy Blair described the man she observed on the bridge. Betsy was actually talking to Liggett face-to-face when she provided the description. Liggett heard Betsy's description of a much younger man with brown poofy hair, but chose to conceal this information from Judge Denier. Blair's description of a youthful, boyish-looking person in his 20s, maybe early 30s, with brown poofy hair, obviously does not at all describe Richard Allen. In order for Liggett to have provided Judge Denier with honest and accurate information, he would have to state the following in his affidavit. I, Tony Liggett, believe that Richard Allen is the man that murdered the girls for reasons stated herein. I also believe that the man that Betsy Blair observed on the bridge is Richard Allen, and therefore the killer. However, I must also inform the court that the man that Betsy Blair observed on the bridge really looks nothing like Richard Allen. Whereas Richard Allen was a man in his mid-40s with short or even shaved grayish hair, the man that Betsy Blair described was youthful, boyish looking, and had brown poofy hair. Also, Your Honor, Betsy Blair told the sketch artist that the man she saw on the bridge was just about 20 years old. This description came only 4 days after she observed the man on the bridge. 2 years later, Betsy Blair still maintains that the man was in his 20s or maybe early 30s. Also, Betsy Blair told the sketch artist back in 2017 that the resemblance of the boyish sketch to the man that she observed on the bridge was a 10 out of 10. I must also tell you, Judge, that this 10 out of 10 sketch looks nothing, absolutely nothing like Richard Allen. Liggett had a legal obligation to inform Judge Neer of the vast differences between Betsy Blair's description of the man she observed on the bridge and Richard Allen. He did not. The fact that fact alone should be sufficient to merit tossing the warrant and suppressing the fruits of an illegal search. However, there is more. In order for Liggett's timeline to work, he needs Richard Allen's black Ford Focus to be parked at the CPS lot from 1:30 p.m. until 4:30 p.m. Betsy Blair sees one car at the CPS lot at 2:15 p.m. and it is not Richard Allen's car. Richard Allen voluntarily was interviewed on October 13, 2022. Watching the videotape interview, it is apparent that Richard thought he was being asked questions to help assist the police in solving the crime. In trying to provide Liggett and Mullen a timeline of when he was at the trail, Richard stated he arrived at the trail around noon. Later in the interview, Richard Allen told Liggett and Mullen that he probably left the trail around 1:30 p.m. In his affidavit, Liggett states that Richard Allen parked his black Ford Focus at the CPS parking lot and then cut over to the trail, where he then walked up to the high bridge, ultimately following Abby and Libby across the bridge before abducting them. After murdering the girls, Liggett stated in his affidavit that Betsy Carball observed a man that Liggett claims is Richard Allen, walking alongside 300 North at approximately 3:57 p.m., westbound towards the CPS parking lot. The implication being that Richard Allen was walking back to his car after abducting and murdering the girls. If what Liggett wrote in his affidavit were true, then Richard Allen's black Ford Focus would have been parked in the CPS lot from 1:30 p.m. until at least 4 p.m., giving him time to abduct the girls, murder the girls, and walk back to the black Ford Focus parked in the CPS parking lot sometime after 3:57 p.m. when Sarah Carball observed Richard walking down 300 North. In other words, for Liggett's timeline to work, Richard Allen's black Ford Focus would have to remain parked at the old CPS building from roughly 1:30 p.m. when Liggett claims Richard Allen arrived until roughly 4 p.m. as Liggett claims Richard Allen had abducted the girls. If Richard's black Ford Focus was not at the CPS parking lot between these hours, 1:30 to 4, then Liggett's timeline would be blown. In his deposition, Liggett was asked a series of questions by defense counsel, and Liggett answered those questions as follows. Okay, so question. Is it your contention that Richard Allen's black Ford Focus was parked at the old CPS building at 1:29 roughly on February 13th, 2017? Answer, yes. Question. Is it your contention that Richard Allen's black Ford Focus was parked at the old CPS building at 1:45 p.m. on February 13th? Yes. Is it your contention that Richard Allen's black Ford Focus was parked at the old CPS building at 2 p.m. on February 13th? Yes. Is it your contention that Richard Allen's black Ford Focus was parked at the old CPS building at 2:14 p.m.? Yes. Again at 2:15 p.m.? Yes. And again at 2:30 p.m.? He says yes. 2:45, yes. 3 p.m., yes. 3:15, 3:30, 3:45, 4:30, and then it says yes up until 4:30, and then it says no. What time did you contend that Richard Allen's black Ford Focus was no longer parked at the old CPS building? And the answer is around 4. Through his answers, Liggett demonstrated that he recognized that for his timeline to work, Richard Allen's black Ford Focus would have to be parked at the CPS lot from 1:30 p.m. to 4 p.m. in order to give Richard the time to abduct and the girls and return to his vehicle. Therefore, if there is any evidence that Richard Allen's black Ford Focus was not parked in the old CPS parking lot between those times, that is something that Liggett would be required to share with Judge Denier. Rather than tell the truth, Liggett concealed the evidence that Richard's black Ford Focus had left the CPS parking lot probably at 1:30 p.m., but certainly before 2:15 p.m. when Blair saw a completely different car. And therefore, Richard Allen could not have been on the bridge at 2 p.m. or committed the murders soon thereafter. For starters, as noted earlier, in his interview with Liggett and Mullen, Richard Allen stated that he arrived at the trails around noon and left around 1:30 p.m. Liggett failed to inform Judge Denier, and Richard Allen stated that Richard Allen stated he had left the trails at 1:30 p.m. He should have, especially if there were evidence that a different vehicle was parked at the old CPS lot after 1:30 p.m. but before 4 p.m., which would then support Richard Allen's statement that he left the CPS building around 1:30 p.m. So the next question to ask is, did anyone see a vehicle parked at the old CPS building around 1:30 p.m. and 4 p.m. that did not resemble Richard Allen's black Ford Focus, thus supporting the timeline that Richard Allen provided to Liggett, but which Liggett concealed from Judge Denier? The answer is yes, Betsy Blair. When Betsy Blair arrived at the trail at roughly 1:46 p.m., Betsy Blair had parked her vehicle in a different location that the defense calls the Mears parking lot. When she left the Monon Trail, she pulled out of the Mears parking lot. Betsy Blair headed west on 300 North in her car and was spotted on the Hoosier Harvest store camera heading towards the old CPS lot at 2:14 p.m. The old CPS lot is only a 36-second drive from Hoosier Harvest store camera, giving Betsy Blair a full minute to drive from the Hoosier Harvest store to the old CPS lot would mean that Betsy Blair would pass the old CPS lot at around 2:15 p.m. Remember that Liggett has admitted under oath that at 2:15 p.m., Richard Allen's black Ford Focus would be parked at the CPS building while he was abducting and murdering the girls. Okay, give me 1 second. I got to grab something real quick. Sorry, guys. Hold on 1 second. Okay, thank you guys. Yeah, there was an election that year. And there's actually an election going on, I believe, this year, because I saw a bunch of signs in people's yards. I don't know if it's just like a yearly election or if it's every 5 years, but thank you guys all for being here. I appreciate it so much. I really do. And thanks for hitting the like button and all that good stuff. I know I get you guys for that. I'm always like, do this for me. But if you would love to become a member of our channel, we'd love to have you. So I put the channel membership link in the chat. And we are going to be doing a members live here soon. It's been a little while since we've done one. However, at 2:15 p.m., when Betsy Blair passed the old CPS building, Betsy Blair did not see a black Ford Focus parked at the old CPS lot. The car that Betsy Blair observed as she passed this old CPS building at 2:15 p.m. looked nothing like a black Ford Focus. According to Liggett's own report, Betsy Blair observed one car parked in the CPS lot at 2:15, and that car resembled a 1965 Ford Comet that her father once owned. The shape had sharper angles. Again, to whom did Betsy Blair provide this description of a 1965 Ford Comet-looking, angular in appearance vehicle? None other than Liggett himself. Liggett was fully aware that the car that Betsy Blair described as being backed into a spot at the old CPS building looked nothing like the Richard Allen's black Ford Focus, but Liggett concealed that information from Judge Denier. It should also be noted that if Richard Allen left at 1:30 p.m., then the person that Betsy Blair observed on the High Bridge at roughly 2 p.m. was not Richard Allen. This would explain why the person that Betsy Blair observed on the High Bridge looked nothing like Richard Allen, because it wasn't Richard Allen. It was a 20-year-old kid with brown poofy hair. Concealing Betsy Blair's description of the vehicle at the old CPS building from Judge Denier may have temporarily plugged a hole in the dam of Liggett's problematic timeline when Denier reviewed the affidavit on October 13th, 2022. But Liggett's concealment has now been exposed. And it gets worse. When asked to describe the color of the car that resembles a 1965 Ford Comet, Betsy Blair actually told Liggett that the car she saw was not black. That is right. Liggett heard from the mouth of Betsy Blair that a 1965 Ford Comet-looking vehicle was not even black, which is the color that Liggett needed the vehicle to be in order to fit the description of Richard's black Ford Focus as described in Liggett's affidavit. Because of Betsy's description of the car she viewed at the old CPS building, evidence supports that Richard Allen left at 1:30 p.m., as he told Liggett, at some point in time after Richard left the old CPS lot. An older, angular-looking car that resembled a 1965 Comet and was not black arrived at the old CPS building. Then the driver of this 1965 Ford Comet-looking angular, non-black vehicle backed into the CPS parking lot. At roughly 2:15 p.m., when returning home, Betsy Blair observed this car that reminded her of a car her dad had growing up. All of this adds up to the fact evidence concealed by Liggett supports that Richard Allen was not at the crime scene, as he already left at 1:30 p.m. and was already home by the time Betsy Blair observed the 1965 Ford Comet-looking non-black vehicle at the CPS parking lot. And Liggett knew it. Again, because of Betsy Blair's description of the vehicle she observed at the old CPS building, evidence supports that Richard Allen was also home by the time that Betsy Blair saw the 20-year-old with brown poofy hair on the bridge, which again explains why the person on the bridge looks nothing like Richard Allen, because it wasn't Richard Allen. This is simply outrageous and abusive behavior on the part of Liggett. Abusive in that Liggett used his power as a law enforcement officer to conceal evidence to secure a search warrant 26 days before an election in which he was running for sheriff. And at the burnt end of Liggett's abusive behavior is Richard Allen, who has been sitting and suffering in hell for over 10 months. Liggett doesn't even have the excuse that Betsy Blair provided the description to a different detective, and therefore he could not have known of Blair's distinguishing description. No, Liggett heard the description straight from the mouth of Betsy Blair, yet choose to conceal this timeline-destroying evidence from Judge Denier. If Judge Denier had known that evidence showed that Richard Allen was home by the time the girls were abducted at 2:13 p.m., Denier would have never signed the search warrant. But that's not all. It gets even worse. Liggett flat out lied when he told Judge Denier that in 2017, Sarah Carball described a man as wearing muddy and bloody clothing and was also wearing a blue jacket. For Liggett's timeline to work, not only did Liggett, need for Richard Allen's black Ford Focus to be parked at the old CPS lot between 1:30 p.m. and 4 p.m., but he also needed Sarah Carball's statement concerning the man she claimed she saw walking westbound on 300 North at 3:57 to match Betsy Blair's description of a man wearing a blue jacket. It would also help if the man had blood on his clothing to further tie him to the murder. In his affidavit, Liggett wrote the following. An interview was done of Sarah Carball in 2017. She states that she was traveling east on 300 North and observed a male subject walking west on the north side of 300 Northway, Mona and High Bridge. She stated that he was wearing a blue-colored jacket and blue jeans and was muddy and bloody. She further stated that it appeared that he had gotten in a fight. Investigators determined from the video that she was on 300 North at 15:57 hours. The blue jacket described by Sarah Carball would need to match the color of jacket described by Betsy Blair to help with Liggett's timeline. Again, the blood of the clothing would be an added bonus in that it would tie the man that Sarah Carball observed in the murders and therefore assist Judge Denier in making the decision to sign the warrant. The problem is that in 2017, Sarah Carball told Liggett to his face that the man she observed walking west on 300 North was wearing a tan-colored coat, a lighter-colored coat, not a blue jacket. That is a problem because the color of this man's coat did not match the coat of the 20-year-old boyish-looking man with poofy brown hair that Betsy Blair described on the High Bridge around 2 p.m. According to Liggett, both of these men were Richard Allen. Another way to put that is that Liggett had asserted that sketch number 1 and sketch number 2 are the exact same man, Richard Allen. Carball saw a man walking on 300 North wearing a jacket. Liggett needed the color of that jacket to match the color of the jacket worn by the man Betsy Blair had observed on the High Bridge at 2 p.m. because Liggett is claiming that both men are the same man, Richard Allen. The problem was that Carball did not observe the man walking down 300 North wearing a blue jacket. She observed a tan jacket. This meant that Sarah Carball and Betsy Blair observed two different men. This created a problem for Liggett's timeline. So instead of being honest, Liggett chose to represent to Judge Denier that Carball observed a man wearing a blue jacket when in her 2017 interview, Carball said it was tan. So I have a question about it. I wonder if, let's say me and Jan go, like if we did an experiment, let's say we have a sketch artist and we are looking at the same person for like, just put ours, like I'm rolling in the car and she's standing still. I wonder if our descriptions of that person would differ slightly. What if Jan noticed about this person that they had like a large nose, prominent nose? What if I noticed about the person, maybe they had, and I'm not trying to be judgy, but maybe I noticed the first thing was they had smaller eyes. Like they may, our sketches maybe come out differently because we're thinking of two different prominent areas. Does that make sense? So maybe they did see the same person, even though the sketches look so much different. But those sketches they do look a lot different. Dog's getting comfortable back here. I'm just trying to make it all make sense. Oh, but that's not all it says. Nowhere in Sarah Carball's 2017 interview does Sarah Carball use the word bloody to describe the clothing that the man was wearing. And that was another thing. I wonder if blue with mud and tan with blood, if it would be similar in what it looked like. We may have to do an experiment. The so-called muddy bloody lady is actually just the muddy lady, as Carball only used the word muddy to describe the man she observed on 300 North in her 2017 interview. It certainly would help Judge Denier in making his decision if the man walking down the street was wearing a blue jacket and also wearing bloody clothing, as if he had just M'd somebody. However, Liggett just flat out lied. Sarah Carball never mentioned a blue coat and never mentioned blood in her 2017 interview. Instead of lying, had Liggett told Judge Denier that the man walking down 300 North at 3:57 p.m. was wearing a light-colored tan jacket instead of a blue coat, then Judge Denier would have realized that Betsy Blair and Sarah Carball did not see the same man. Instead of lying, had Liggett told Judge Denier that the man walking down 300 North only had on muddy clothing, then Judge Denier would have not associated the man with murder. Liggett can't claim that when drafting the affidavit, Liggett relied on the false description provided by a different investigator. No, Sarah Carball told Liggett to his face that she observed was wearing a tan coat, and was only muddy, not bloody. If Judge Denier had been told the truth, he would not have nor should have signed the search warrant. And this brings us to the conclusion of part 2. There is a reason that in his sworn affidavit, Liggett concealed key information from Judge Denier and lied about other key information. Had Denier known the hidden and falsified facts, that Denier would have signed a search warrant that was already insufficient in linking Richard Allen to the murders even before Liggett's lies and deceptions. Liggett concealed and falsified evidence would have told a completely different story had Liggett not concealed evidence and lied about evidence. Richard Allen told Liggett to his face that he, Allen, had left the old CPS parking lot by 1:30 p.m. But Liggett opted to not let Judge Denier know about what Richard said. When Richard drove away from the old CPS parking lot at 1:30 p.m. to go home at some point in time after 2 p.m., a person driving a car that resembled a 1965 Comet, angular in shape and not black, backed their car into the old CPS parking lot and parked. Then at 2:15 p.m., Betsy Blair drove past the old CPS parking lot and observed the car and remembered what it looked like because it reminded her of her youth, a car her dad drove in the 1960s. Because Richard Allen had left the CPS parking lot at or before 1:30 p.m., It certainly explains why the man that Betsy Blair observed at the High Bridge at 2 p.m. was a boyish and youthful looking 20 to 30-year-old man with poofy brown hair that looked nothing like Richard Allen, because it wasn't Richard Allen, as Richard Allen had left for home a half hour earlier. There is a reason that the man Sarah Carball observed on 300 North at 3:57 was not wearing a blue coat like the man Betsy Blair observed on the High Bridge, the same man that Liggett claims was Richard Allen. It's because the man that Sarah Carball observed on 300 North at 3:57 p.m. wasn't the same man that Betsy Blair saw on the bridge at 2 p.m. It was a completely different man that had mud, not blood, on his clothing. Betsy Blair saw one man, perhaps the same man that Riley Voorhees, Bree Wilbur, and Anna Spath saw on the trail. Sarah Carball observed a completely different man. While all these witnesses were observing two different men, Richard Allen was at home where he had been since leaving the Monon High Trail on or before 1:30 p.m. That is the difference between the concealed and falsified evidence would have made for Judge Denier. That's the end of it. So I'm wondering, he could have put mud over the blood. I'm just wondering what the difference of what it would look like. So, because like wet stuff just looks different. Like even blood doesn't always look like red. It could be like, if it's on a dark clothing, it can be darker looking. And that's what I'm wondering. Because it's a blue jacket, one person might have thought it was mud because you don't think blood. When you see somebody, when you see someone all like wet, you maybe think mud because they're coming out of the woods. They're by the woods, down by all that water. And I had some pictures of, I forgot to pull them up, but I had some pictures of the CVS that he worked at. Me and Vincent went by it, and I was like, oh my gosh, turn the car around. Let me see if I can pull them up. And thank you guys all for being here. I really appreciate it. It's a nice little afternoon live. Heck yes, I like these. And I'll be back tonight too for our 8:15. Oh, I canceled it. I didn't mean to do that. Let me see over here. Oh, that opened them both? No, I just opened one, but that's okay. I know it opened them both, but they're like the same picture, pretty much. So yeah, there's the CVS. We drove by that, and I was like, turn the car around. I was like, that's where he used to work. Do you not feel good, Cheryl? Well, if it makes you feel any better at all, so I hate the dentist, and I told you guys know that I hate the dentist. They text me today because we text. It's weird. I don't know. And she's like, we can see you tomorrow for those extractions with an S, plural. I said, what? I told you about the bottom, left one. And I'm like, what do you mean? I'm like, what do you mean? There's two. What do you mean? Like, and so she's like, we're gonna do them next week. There's two. We're gonna put you on. It's called like Havoc. It's something like stronger than laughing gas. I don't know what it's going to do to me, but they're going to put me on that, and I take it like the day before, but they're going to just do the top back, like the top one and then the bottom one and all the way in the back. But I've never had laughing gas. I've never been offered it, so I'm taking it. Howison, yes, Melissa, that's what it is. I'm just so happy they're giving me something this time, because I had to have a tooth pulled down here. And I swear to y'all, the guy, I swear y'all, he was behind me pulling this way, and he had his foot like on the chair because my tooth didn't want to come out. Like, I swear, I was like, this dentist, I mean, when he came in, he looked like he just got done playing basketball. I was like, where's the rest of your pants, sir? Like, Like what is going on with life? It was a bad dentist. So now I'm at a really good dentist. I just have to not be so scared to go. And then I have to get that root canal done and the crown, which isn't covered on insurance through insurance. And why does it have to be like your teeth? Like, charge me anything for anything, but not my teeth. Melissa, does it work? Because I have a high tolerance for medications just from all the surgeries I've been through. So they asked me, do you want laughing gas? And I said, well, sure. Yeah, that'd be great. And they were like, well, we can give you this, what you said, and it'll be like a little stronger. And I was like, oh. And I have a question. Can they do implants after your tooth has been removed? Can you do implants after the tooth has been removed? I'm asking you guys because I don't know the answers to these. And my mom is not here. Really? It knocks you out? Okay, I like that. Okay, good. So because Vincent's going to take me. He don't know yet, but he always takes me for my procedures for any surgery or anything like that. And I knew I wasn't going to be able to drive home. And so, okay, I know better than to drive home now because it's like a 40-minute drive. Which yesterday, that's what I didn't realize. I thought Vincent was going to drive me to the dentist yesterday. And he's like, yeah, I'm going to get a lift back to work and then just come get me after work because we only have one vehicle working right now. And I was like, okay. And in my mind, I was like, oh, he's going to drop me off at the dentist and then leave the car at the dentist and then I'll go to his work. No, he's like, oh, my lift's here, bye. And I'm like, what? He's like, yeah, you got to go. You got to drive yourself. I had 2 minutes to get there, like, or I was going to be late. Like, I had to rush out. I was just like, I wasn't prepared to drive on the highway. I hate the highway. You love laughing at? See, I've never done it. They never offered it at any place I've been to. I'm excited about it. I know it's weird to say, but it's so bad when you have that kind of anxiety when you go to the dentist. And I have that anxiety that to where I can almost feel like, okay, that's taken care of. Oh, so they pulled your tooth to put the implant post in. Okay. That's what I thought they put it under your gums. Because I was telling Vincent about that and because he was wondering, we're wondering what to do. Like my top teeth are pretty good. It's just like the bottom back ones are just from oral surgeries and mouth being wired shut. I crushed my jaw. Had couple things wrong with me. So that's why I need to get those fixed. And I told the dentist, like, and I'm gonna tell him again tomorrow. Or next week when I see him. If we need to implant these, just let me know because I'd rather just do implants now than than cap them, crown them, root canal them, and then the cavities, or the fillings break out. There goes part of my tooth, part of my tooth, part of my tooth. And in 5-10 years, I need an implant anyway. You know what I mean? Like, let's cut out the middleman. I'm one of those people. Just get me to where I need to be. Hey, Judy. Welcome in. What time is it? Oh, I got a little bit of time. I'm going to go to the grocery. We don't have anything in our fridge at all. We threw everything away pretty much. We're just like, we're starting new. We didn't have a lot of food in there anyway, and it was getting old. It wasn't like we were wasting anything. It was just like a lot of Japanese stuff that Vincent had. No, it wasn't a lot. It was just some fish that he had. And then then that was like pretty much it. We really didn't have a lot in our fridge to begin with, eggs and like stuff like that. So we weren't like gonna they were gonna put them in another refrigerator for us while they were doing that fridge, but we were just like, let's just go get new stuff. Your gums have to heal first. Oh, they do wounded healer. So you have to be like no teeth. See, okay, we would have to like, I don't know what we would do. I already lost my eye, y'all. And thanks for letting me complain. I really appreciate it. But I really do appreciate you guys letting me complain a little bit. But like I lost my eye. Like, can we keep these? I love my teeth. That's my smile. Like, and I don't really want another smile. Now that I'm thinking of it, like I used to always want veneers. But now that I want mine. I want my teeth. These are my mom and dad's. They gave me these. Where do I shop, Cheryl? Oh gosh, everywhere. but I have to show you guys something because if you watched my video, you'll get it. But I usually shop at my store, which is the Poppy and Ari, or I'll shop through like boutique vendors, or I shop at Target a lot. Target, it's pretty good. I love me some Target. Let me show you something. Hold on one second. Let me grab it. Sorry, I had to take it off my vape too. So do you guys remember when I was at Target and I did the little video I had on, like I was trying to get an outfit to go home in because it was going to be really cold from California. So if you guys don't remember that, I tried on like a light gray color and then a blue, like a baby blue, which I never wear, like Nancy. And then I ended up having to get the darker color because they had my size in the blue. They didn't have like I think it was a medium top and I needed a small and then a small bottom or something. So we just didn't get it. And I was like, I'll wait till I get home because they had a bunch. And we're at our Target. So we get home. Vincent goes over there to like grab something and he looked for me and they didn't have any blue. And you were all like, the baby blue one looks so good on you. And I was like, I like the baby blue. So I was at my Target the other day and I got the sweater. So I was like, okay. Vincent was like, build the outfit. I love Vincent. He's such a smart guy. So I got the top. So on my way home from the dentist yesterday, I go to Target. Like, I don't even know where I'm at. And I would go to this Target and I'm like looking through the pants. They have all these blue pants. One small, y'all. I got the whole outfit. I'm so excited to show you guys. Just because this thing is so comfortable. Like they're like, I should be on the marketing team for Target, but these are legit like silk. They just like fall off the counter. They're so soft. Like they're so nice. But yeah, that's where I usually shop for. I wear such plain stuff. Y'all know I do. So I got the blue because the blue is something different and I don't wear colors very often. I'm usually like in white, gray, black. So, but yeah, I got the blue. I was so excited about that. I was like, yes, I found it. So now I have to go over and get the ashy gray one, the light gray one, and then I'll be set. Because I have like two, I just got two Puma outfits too the other day. So I was super excited about it. Because, I only dress up for y'all. And I usually don't dress up for you guys. Like today, my hair was wet. But that's what I love about my chat. And that's what I love about you guys. You guys don't care. You guys are like just here for the content and for me. But I am going to go to the grocery store because, that sucks. And it will get cooler out for me to wear this outfit. And I'll match Nancy. But yeah, I'm going to go to the grocery and I still do have the videos for when we were in California, the one on the knife, the K-bar knife for Idaho case and the Albertsons videos. So I'm going to get those uploaded this week as well. I keep forgetting to do that. And then I'll be on later this evening at 8:15 p.m. And tomorrow, maybe we'll do another day live tomorrow as well because we have some stuff to get caught up on. I think that there might even be updates in Leilani Simon's case. Deb, really? But but Goodwill, like, isn't it like more expensive now? Because like everyone is like thrifting and then reselling. I've heard it's, been really expensive. Oh, thanks, Muda Healer. I like blue too. I'm a green person. Paul, I hear that all these. Paul, are you my brother? Is your name Tony? Paul, your dog is that? Oh, let me see your dog. Oh my gosh, even your dog looks like my brother's dog. That's so funny. Because like my brother always says always produce is better than Kroger. That's funny. That's so funny. See you, Jan. Okay. Well, you guys have a great day. I'm gonna jump off as well. He said no. I was like, are you my brother? I could just see him being sneaky and coming in on another name. Oh, and Vincent's mom sent him a care package. So if she's listening, we got it. And I bet you it's really good stuff. He's almost out of sweet stuff. So he likes that stuff. Likes the sweet. And yeah, thanks for letting me, complain about the dentist for a minute. Because, man, hate going to the dentist. But maybe I'll have Vincent record me. But if I'm just sleeping, maybe I'll do a sleep stream. Have you seen those on Facebook or on YouTube? I'll just do a sleep stream. But I will see you guys on later tonight. I think we're going to cover Rachel Morin. There are some updates in that case. And one of them shocked the crap out of me. So I will see you guys all this evening around 8:15. Have a good day. And if I don't see you tonight, I'll see you tomorrow. Bye, guys.